Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about my journey to sustainable health and meaningful success. I am filming this intro in my parents' car because I borrowed it this past weekend to go down to Peoria, Illinois to be interviewed by my old high school friend, Abby. She has a podcast called Stillness on Patreon, and I will link all that information below just so you could check out her podcast beforehand. But our episode actually won't be like my episode that she interviewed me on. I don't know how to explain it, but she interviewed me, and that episode will be on her podcast probably in March. So I will definitely be posting those details on YouTube. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, that will be there. But for all of my audience, but especially for my anti-MLM audience, I am so excited for this podcast episode that we recorded. So this video is just going to be me interviewing Abby to kind of get a little bit more of her background and the purpose behind her podcast so that you can get to know her mission. We're very much aligned in purpose, and I think that it is very important that you kind of have a little bit more of a context of the podcast episode. So anyway, I'm just going to do the interview with her, and then we'll talk about it afterwards as to why it relates to anti-MLM and why I'm excited about it.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about my journey to sustainable health and meaningful success. And today I am in Peoria, Illinois with my good friend, Abby. We haven't seen each other since high school, so it's been quite the reunion. Abby has a podcast that is super rockin', and you should check it out. And she interviewed me today because we are so aligned in the different missions that we have that, it just makes sense to do a collaboration. So I'm here to introduce you to Abby, and I want you to give whatever information you feel is great to give.
All right. Well, thank you, first of all, for driving all the way down to this little city of Peoria so that we could record a podcast episode together. I love to do it in person. It's so wonderful that way, so thank you. I do have the podcast, A Stillness, which you can find through my Patreon page at Abigail Jewel, and I'm sure that there will be links and things.
Linking in the description,
also
everything we talk about.
On the gram.
Yes.
Also _stillness. And, but by career, I'm a yoga instructor, and then I'm also currently a college student, but the fun projects in my life include teaching yoga and having this Patreon page where I have a podcast, but also share some art and poetry and just other things that I'm learning about. The podcast is specifically about intentional living, which is exactly why you guys are here too, as well.
Yeah. Yes, because we're trying to do things more intentionally.
It's always a process.
Yeah,
it is.
That's
can confirm. It's a process.
Yes, I'm not a human being. I'm a human becoming. Okay,
Ooh.
So chill out. That was super aggressive, and you know we love you. Tell us about the purpose behind intentional living and why you are bringing this content into the internet.
Yeah, to the interwebs. Yeah. There's so much content out there, and I didn't want to add to the noise. And my hope is that by the end of any episode of A Stillness, people feel really encouraged and empowered to do the next right thing in their life, whether that's through their physical health, their financial health, oh my goodness, just everything. We talk about everything. There's no topic that cannot be spruced up with some intentionality.
Right. With all of the information that I hoard and everything that I'm just gathering stats and data and what am I supposed to do for my metabolism and what it's all headspace. It's all knowledge, but to actually apply it as a whole different practice, that does require intentionality. You with your yoga background, which is very physical but also spiritual, with everything that you're doing, and the fact that you probably have a better grip on a lot of things within health than I currently do. And that's okay. We all have our own journeys. But can you share with me and with my audience and my community, what would you say is like a staple, a cardinal rule, or just even just like your go-to tip for sustainable health?
Yeah, I think in order for any health practice to be sustainable, it has to be coming from a place of that self-worth, that self-awareness, that self-respect. And if you're making a decision about food, whatever that decision is, but it's coming from this place of like hatred and frustration and anguish, that's probably not going to be a sustainable decision. Which I feel like is basically how most diets function.
Literally, you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm gonna not eat anything bad for me. Right. I'm gonna be like,
even that language is
right.
like a very frustrated
junk food. I'm gonna like just eat salad because I'm a rabbit. And then right. And then by midnight you have a whole pizza and there's a tub of ice cream in the corner. And I'm describing a very real experience.
But then unfortunately, then all that you when it's from that place of like frustration or anguish or even like anger and hate, then all that you're allowed to feel from that is shame. And shame is not the answer either.
Accurate.
So
shame is never the answer.
Never the answer. So making a decision about food that comes from a place of joy, like a place of gratitude. I am grateful for this pizza. I might not have to eat the whole pizza to experience joy.
Yeah.
Kind of like, and that's just like a very like food specific one, but I think this applies even to like a person's fitness routine, a person's inner dialogue about their own body. Like it has to start there with self-worth. If it doesn't, then it doesn't mean that it isn't healthy, like by the books, scientifically, right? Calories in, calories out, like that can definitely be argued, but it's not sustainable.
Right, because we sustain ourselves as a whole being.
That again.
Yeah, and when you're only addressing one area and you're trying to work on that one thing, it's just like,
if you are and I don't think it's wrong to prioritize physical health. There's definitely seasons of life where like that's at the top of the list. That's the thing that has to be taken care of the most.
Right.
But it shouldn't be like taken care of to the detriment of like one's financial health or to the decay of one's mental health.
Right.
Like you have to honor it all.
Yes, which can be overwhelming.
Again,
which is why
overwhelming.
Yes, it is. And when I started my health journey, which was documented on my first YouTube video, my life update, like I was a mess in all areas, and it just seemed really overwhelming. But to keep that cycle of, well, all right, in order to get my life together, I'm going to go on a diet, just doesn't make sense anymore. It's counterintuitive to who I am as a person and what I am as a human, because it's not just my metabolism. My metabolism doesn't identify me, it doesn't define me, so why am I defining my health just by that one measure?
Or why does a person define their whole life, all that they bring to the world, all that they bring to their community, based off of how their metabolism functions? But we are like very culturally surrounded by that. So I think my biggest like tip is not really a sexy one. It's like no.
Right.
Some self-awareness. Apply some self-awareness. Apply some self-respect.
What the other side of my channel is my quest for meaningful success.
I love that phrase. I just want you to know it. Am a fan. We'll steal it. We'll borrow it.
Yes. Do it.
Meaningful success. Yeah.
How do you define meaningful success for yourself?
I think I define it as contentment. Because there will always be more successful people than you, more wealthy people than you. There will always be people who are less well off than you, maybe less privileged. Like, I realize that I come from a very privileged place as I sit here and say, like, I'm all about contentment. And I have, like, a roof over my head that's paid for. You know, like, I get that. But I do think that is where meaningful success is found, where it sits, where it lives.
Yeah, and as we as humans, or as you as a human, are fluid. You move, you change, you grow, you evolve. It's very non-static.
Yeah. So
what is the word for
the
that?
Circumstances of success will change, but I still find meaningful success in my day-to-day because I'm contented.
Yeah.
Is that what I was trying to say the whole time?
It connects with me on a major level. The fact that from everything that we've just talked about in this brief interview,
right,
no matter how deep the topic goes, no matter what the topic is, no matter what portion of your life or aspect of your life you're trying to improve, it's your mental state, your perspective that's going to frame that in a healthy and fulfilling and vivacious and sustainable and meaningful way.
Yeah.
It's perception, it's attitude, and it's your chosen state of being, not your circumstances.
Purpose.
Ayo. Wow. This is so much.
There's a lot. Could also go on for like 6 more hours, but we won't.
Literally. But that's why we have a YouTube channel, we have a podcast.
Yes.
It's why
it's why the conversation has to continue in its own way, in its own settings. Yeah, because your life is a terrible thing to waste. Yeah.
I love it, and I'm working on it. And we're just like really diving in deep.
Yes.
You can check out the podcast episode that Abby interviewed me in March.
Hopefully to be released in March. This is the plan.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated. Follow us on Instagram. That's linked below.
Yeah.
Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to this channel. Hello. We'd love to have you.
Seriously.
And also check Abby out on her Patreon podcast and support her. If you're local to where she is, go check out a yoga class.
Yeah.
This
just
woman
hit me up.
literally has the most soothing voice. You if anything, check out her podcast just to hear her voice, to calm your soul, and it's gonna be great.
Thank you.
So yes. Thank you for hosting me.
Oh my goodness, of course. Thank you for dealing with the animal noises and pseudo interactions.
This is life. It's messy. It's noisy. And you just gotta...
And it's good.
Push through.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just got so, pumped.
You feel
All right.
It's because we've been sitting for a while. This is where we need to do some yoga.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deep breaths. All right. Well, love ya. And we'll see you again.
Definitely. You'll hear from us again.
Yes. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
So obviously, as I say in the beginning of every video that I do, that my channel is about my journey to sustainable health and meaningful success. And Abby explored that deeper in her interview with me for her podcast. And I'm so excited about the things that she brought out in that podcast. She's an excellent interviewer. So the questions that she asked really related to my anti-MLM content and my Amway story, but it also connected it to why I started a YouTube channel and what my purpose is going forward. And what I'm excited about in particular is the fact that not only in that podcast, but in my channel in general, the conversation is shifting from anti-MLM to post-MLM. So obviously, if you're against MLMs, you're watching my channel and you've seen all my playlist of all of my Amway videos, then you know why I left the MLM, you know the damage that was done, and you know why I would be angry at my upline and at the entire organization. So this has already been covered in my channel, and I don't want to just stay in that place of anger. I put that content out on the internet so that people could have access to it, that people could see the mistakes that I made and hopefully avoid making those mistakes. But I want to move the conversation forward in a way that whatever I learned in the MLM, whatever I learned not to do in the multi-level marketing company, I want to be able to start applying that and actually starting to find that true success that most people who are in multi-level marketing companies are searching for, but they're just going about it the wrong way. So I'm excited to start changing that conversation into, if you've left an MLM, or if you're thinking about joining an MLM, what you should do instead, and how you can actually use those valuable lessons that, I did the video on all the books that I read in Amway while I was in Amway, and a lot of the books were actually really useful tools. So I want to start moving the conversation toward what we should do instead, or how to progress afterward after leaving an MLM, because it can be really damaging. And when I left, I had no money, I had no friends, I had to patch up a lot of family relationships, and it pretty much devastated me, honestly. And so I'm excited about this podcast episode, and I'm excited moving forward because you're going to see a lot more content, not specifically from an anti-MLM standpoint. I want to universally address the topic of meaningful success, but obviously my story involves MLMs, it involves Amway, and it involves what I needed to do to recover from that. So, look for that information when I release a video that actually has that information in the description as to where you can find that episode specifically. But also, if you wanted to follow me on Instagram, I post a lot about the different things that I'm doing, even on a day-to-day basis, just the mundane, fundane things that I do. But I think that that's going to be really refreshing. And I have seen a lot of anti-MLM content, but not a lot of post-MLM content. Like, where do we go from here? So we're going to do it, and we're going to forge our own paths in this. I appreciate everybody who has stuck around with me through my whole journey. And if you've subscribed and you're just coming back, welcome back. Y'all are my people, and I love you so much. And if you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will consider subscribing and following me on my journey, and joining me. March 4th is going to be a huge launching video of something that I'm very excited about. So watch for that, and it'll be so good. Okay? Bye.